The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing.
Walt Disney.
Speak softly and carry a big stick.
Theodore Roosevelt.
The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams.
Eleanor Roosevelt. Curiosity fosters connection.
Death is not the greatest loss to life. The greatest loss is what dies inside while still alive. Never surrender.
Who said that?
We're back in the bakery, kicking back, about to bake some pie for y'all. It's your boy, B Willis.
And Priscilla Z. Love to all, and welcome back.
All right, so as you guys know, the intro starts with the "Who said that?" The quote I have for you today is, "When you are in doubt, be still and wait. When doubt no longer exists for you, then go forward with courage. So long as mist envelope you, be still. Be still until the sunlight pours through and dispels the mist. As it surely will, then act with courage." That's the whole quote for you. During the episode, think about it, contemplate it, try to figure out who said that.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know towards the end of the show.
I love it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the last episode with the whole stop, think about it. But like stop, think about it for a while. Got to think a little longer and be still. That sounds great. I'm excited to find out who it is. So today we'll just kind of refresh on the concept and the meaning of pie. We are all about pursuing internal evolution, and that's going to happen with or without your consent. So every day we're growing as we're going. You might as well do it with some intention. And today on Pie, we hope to offer you guys with some inspirational thoughts, and that's in spirit ions.
Ooh.
Being in the spirit, and then maybe you guys can all go forth and make sure that in your day-to-day you're taking some of the things that we offer and you're applying it to your growth and development. So
What y'all think about that?
I'm really excited. So today we've got some listener comments and such that maybe we'll touch base on first before we head into good old keep effing going. It's been really cool to hear all of your guys' feedback. Recently, B and I were in an anger management course. We became anger management specialist instructors. And so in that class, we got to meet this really cool light, like a person who has the same energy as B, actually, the Be Active feeling. And her name is Shamira. So shout out to Shamira. We just love you so much.
Hey.
We really appreciate your energy in the class and then beyond. She's a life coach. And I believe she has 9 children, which shows like she's got some life experience on how to really maintain all the different spirits that are around her in her day-to-day. And then she goes and she practically applies that to her community and offers a lot of help. But on our recent podcast, she wrote, "I love this, B and Priscilla.
Hey.
Thank you for Pie Talk. So many people drink the tea of negative talk, and those prolific word curses spoken manifested in various aspects of their lives." Shamira. I really love that she brought the whole word curses into play too, because we talked about spells and spellings.
Well, clearly she watched the episode. So again, appreciate the support and the follow-up and the follow-through, and the feedback is always welcome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we also have the one and only Ash, and she wrote, "I love these. They actually help," which to me meant a lot.
Thank you for that, because
Yeah.
I mean, we hope they help.
Definitely. It's nice because it's like sometimes you think that we're putting it out into the ethers, and to get the feedback to know that you guys are actually listening and that it did something for your energy, to me is the kind of currency that I'm working for. So I really appreciate it. What you think about keep effing going?
Keep effing going. Keep effing going. Yeah. So y'all already know Joshua Smith
Hmm.
and Jordan Davis has put together this just collection of beautiful things, motivational quotes, inspiration. And so we read a page every time we do an episode. And since we've recently went back to day one, right now I'm going to read day two. Your hustle will determine your success. Work hard and never stop grinding. So ask yourself, what specific actions can I take today to demonstrate my hustle and dedication towards achieving my goals? And how can I maintain my momentum and motivation over the long term to ensure lasting success?
I'm like, so for me lately, my focus has been being as spiritually fit as possible. And now I know B, he's been working on the real fitness. And that's a great way of also keeping yourself going and making sure that you got the energy to vibe out and to create the hustle. But for me, in addition to that, I want to be spiritually fit, because I believe if I'm spiritually fit for the long haul, I'm going to be able to keep effing going all the time because I have kind of a backup plan. So no matter what happens in my day, no matter if I'm getting humdrum or I have something come across my table that seems really hard, like I tap into my spirituality. It is the base of me knowing that I've always got my back covered, be it by the goodness above me or the dead people that have passed on. Like I got angels everywhere I go, and they're always on a mission to make sure that I get to the highest point in my journey possible, as long as I just tap into that energy. And so I never want to forget them on my daily grind. I think it's super valuable. What about you, B?
Again, we've talked about this before, but success is all about what you value. What is successful to the next person might not be successful to the next person, right? So just ask yourself, when you're grinding and when you're hustling, what is it that you're hustling for? If you can identify the goal and the purpose and sort of, was it Stephen Covey, I believe, the seven habits of highly effective people, right? I think the first habit is begin with the end in mind. So that's kind of the concept. When I think about success, it's like, what does success mean for you? And then if you can identify that, you can identify how to get there. And then you know the value of what you're putting that work in for. What does it mean to you? Because it's not going to mean the same thing to anybody else, only you.
I love that too, because it's like you're lowering your expectations for how you're performing for others. You're amplifying your expectations for yourself and honoring your own truth, your own narrative, and what you value. And I think that alone can help you progress faster, can get you to the top of your grind. So very cool, very cool. I'm like,
Very.
today we've got some challenges if you're up for it.
Hey, I think I went first last time.
Okay, sounds good. So we've got the cards Better Than Yesterday. They were a gift to be and a gift to me in turn. So let's all start off with Better Than Yesterday, sealed with a smooch. It just says kiss, but Better Than Yesterday, 110. Write and mail a card to a friend or loved one. There's something intimate about writing a physical card to someone you care about. Now, I kind of love that I got this card because I have some, I don't know, some sentimental special things to really offer. So my mother, she used to go walk around with a bunch of old ladies every morning, and they all would, the cute birds, they're all walking around in the neighborhood, chitter-chatting about everything that's going on, but they mostly were there to keep function and peace and love. They were really great at making sure everyone was safe and protected. And my daughter, Zai, she got to go with them on these walks, and it was like a really special, like I said, intimate sort of thing, because they would share their really neat stories, and she'd share her 4-year-old Sparkle to some of the elderly people who don't necessarily like have that exciting joy in their day all day long. So they kind of gave each other gifts. It was like the give and the receive and give. Their currency exchange was really beautiful. Well, when my mom passed away, all the old ladies, they hit hardship. It's difficult for them. They lost their best friend, someone that they spoke to every single day, but they didn't lose Zai. They didn't lose my daughter. And what they decided to do, one of the beautiful women, her name is Helga, but she writes my daughter letters, and she sends her cards to her mailbox. And for a kid nowadays, I mean, we all think it's all technologically ran and that's like the way that you get messages. But for a kid to get a card in the mail, it's like a gift. It's one of the most exciting things in her day. And so anyways, I just think that's kind of a really neat way of honoring some old world traditions, but also some really cool intimate connections. And so I really love this card, man. It's a good one.
Coming from somebody who did a lot of time in prison,
Ooh.
The quality of what receiving a piece of mail has, again, success is perpetuated by what you believe it is, right? So someone in the joint, for example, who gets mail every night would be perceived as more successful and kind of put on a higher pedestal as an inmate that didn't get mail all the time. Even if he had less items from the commissary, it's a different value placed on that person because they call his name every night when the guard comes to the unit. So it just reminded me. I really like that you pulled that card too, because it's really intimate.
Yeah.
And it's really personal to write a letter. I'd make jokes all the time about these kids' hands atrophying because they don't write. Everything's on the phone. They're getting laptops and working and doing homework on the computer as early as 2nd and 3rd grade. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, penmanship is really valuable and important. Like I learned how to do cursive from my 3rd and 4th grade teacher, and to this day, I mean, I write in cursive all the time. It's just a beautiful way of expressing yourself artistically. I also love what you just shared. It made me think like everybody got excited when they heard somebody get their name called for that piece of mail. So it wasn't even just for the singular person that was receiving the mail. It was exciting for everybody. And that's actually how we feel too in our house. When Zai got the letter, we were all stoked too. So it wasn't just like for one person. The trickle effect is really cool.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I love it.
It's dope.
What you got?
Nap time.
Happy Sunday.
Take a 20-minute power nap at some point during the day. A midday reset gives you energy and makes you more productive. Facts. I'm just going to leave it at that as far as my commenting.
I was like, it's actually really great, though. We should pay attention to the 20-minute zone, because that is the power nap. If you go past that, you might come up a little groggy after a couple hours of snoozing. So make sure that you're focused on the power nap aspect when you're trying to practically apply that challenge.
I used to call them ninja naps.
Ooh, I love that.
The reason why, again, a lot of my little things I used to come up with was because I was in prison. And when I was in Walla Walla, it was kind of a dangerous place. It was always active.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm napping, I could be appearing to someone else, one of my bunkies or something, that's being just knocked out. But if something goes down, I could be up, shoes on, ready to go, fully alert. So that's why I used to call it ninja naps. I used to be like, man, this mug be napping like a ninja.
That's so good. I feel like new moms, we should kind of reclaim that, and everyone should be talking about ninja naps, because that's what I think new mothers be doing too. They get quick 20, and then you got to pop up and you're in action.
Or they napping, but they just acutely alert
Yeah.
to danger. Like a new
Yes.
mom hears something going on when she's napping, she's gonna wake up real quick
Yes.
and make sure the baby's okay, and then back to sleep.
To be super real with you, I can fall asleep on the dime and wake up just as fast. I have like this super ninja napping power thanks to my daughter. So I absolutely love that challenge. I hope you all take it on too. So then the next thing that we're going to come into is the topic of our show. So B, you want to take it off?
Today's topic is going to be the most difficult challenges when it comes to pursuing your own internal evolution. And I believe one of them, we can say top 5, top 10. I won't put them with wherever rating they fall into, but one of them is the people around you, right? So, regardless of what it is that you're trying to change or make better, there's always going to be people around you that aren't ready, that don't understand, that will deliberately try to not allow that change to take place. Because as humans, we are historically uncomfortable with change. And when we come across things we don't understand, according to our human history, we kill them, right? And when it comes to you becoming the best version of yourself, especially if you're in a toxic or trauma bond style relationship with another person or a group of people, it could be like a group of people you drink with and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. It's getting boring. Or people you go out to clubs with and you're trying to change something for yourself because you want to pursue something different. Depending on how much pull and influence those people have on you, it can be really difficult. Like making these changes isn't always going to be easy, but be mindful of who's supporting that change fully and genuinely and who's resisting a change in you.
Oh man, I humbly accept this topic. So, the hardest part of change truly is creating your own narrative, making sure that you believe your own narrative, and then doing everything you can to back that up. Now, that can be difficult when we're engaging with other people because sometimes people hold on to your narrative like a security blanket, the one of the past. So, like, I used to be a hot mess express, man. You'd call me Hurricane Irma. I would like come in, ruin a city in seconds, and it was all in my behavior and my choices that I was making, the people I was surrounding myself in, and a lot of toxic traps that like I created initially, but then just kind of got warped into over time, thinking that that was normal behavior. And so I decided that I would own my own story, that I would no longer be a victim because I have been the victim of the fairy tale for a long time now. And right now I like hero status. Hero status is much more fitting for me. Being a shining example is something I think I've always tried and strived to be, but right now I am being that in my day to day. Now, there are a lot of people that I used to surround myself with that loved that story, of me being the victim, of me being this person that they could talk about. They could all drop tea, especially when they're bored. They could have discussions about, oh, did you hear what Priscilla did? Or, oh, that crazy thing that she accomplished or didn't accomplish last week. And right now I've owned my narrative in a way that like I'm trying to put out positive things in everything that I do. I'm stepping into new platforms like this podcast. Like this is the narrative that I'm about, my old ways are something that I don't even think about them anymore. Actually, I like dumped the bucket of tea out and it's long gone. But what's interesting is some people are still holding on to those narratives. They still want to speak about it. And I heard some people talking about me recently dropping tea. And I thought that's so crazy to me because I don't agree with anything that they're talking about. None of it is my business. And I actually felt like sitting around it or hearing it could mean that I was consenting to it again. And so I had to decide, like those spelling words, you got to be really careful who you're around. Oh, yeah. you got to be really cool with who you're around, because if they're saying, so and so is this way, and you're around them hearing that, and just even for a fleeting moment, you say, yeah, I agree. Just even in your head, you are developing a narrative again that leeches and latches on to the past. So you've got to play like spiritual warfare in a way when you're navigating change in a new narrative. You've got to make sure that you're like ninja chopping away all of the talk and the banter, the tea. And sometimes it might mean removing yourself from those people and that sort of group or environment that's still perpetuating that story, so that hopefully they get bored and they drop the tea.
I mean, it's kind of like in like new relationships. Sometimes people will get into a relationship and it's in their best interest to keep it tight to the chest so that they can build a strong foundation if there's outside influences that could potentially create some problems for that relationship to flourish, right? So when you start the process of pursuing internal evolution, you are getting into a new relationship with self. And when you get into a new relationship with self, sometimes you just got to keep it tight to the chest and not tell people all the time or just make it a big deal that you're doing these things. Just do them. Just take the steps, start the journey, do these things, because what you're doing for yourself, people will see it whether you say it or not. Your narrative will begin to write itself with your actions. So if you're giving yourself positive affirmations, looking in the mirror, if you're listening to these challenge cards and paying attention to the keep effing going motivational messages, and you start applying these things a little bit at a time, the energy that emits from you will essentially write a new narrative. Because when you meet people for the first time with this new energy, that's the version that they'll know.
I love this.
So all the stuff in the past, it won't matter when you're meeting new people, because as you get to enjoy that relationship with yourself, it becomes exciting. It's just like any new relationship. You're going to have the honeymoon phase. You're going to have that lust phase where you're just like really, really loving yourself and attached to yourself, and learning more about yourself starts to become joyful. Even when you're navigating trauma, some of that strength is going to come from facing down some of that old behavior and that old negative self-talk. And that person's going to hang around for a while probably before you stop listening to that old negative Nancy in the background. The old grumpy old man telling you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, this will never work, why are you even doing this? And then there's going to be external people in your life literally saying the same things. And that's why this topic is about how difficult it's going to be, because it's real easy to sit up here on a podcast platform and say, oh, I'm doing all these great things, look at my life, we're so wonderful, we're pursuing internal evolution. But it is a daily practice. It is
all
days where I experience anger multiple times throughout the day. Just because I'm an anger management specialist, or because I work in peer work, and because I have all these trainings and understandings, doesn't mean the emotion of anger doesn't exist for me. I just have a little bit more trainings and knowledge and ability, which took a lot of practice, to navigate how I respond to experiencing those feelings.
Like, I've never ever claimed to be all knowing, to be the guru of life, but I am always doing my best, and I am always trying to achieve more, learn more, gain more. And that, I think, is really what pursuing internal evolution is truly about. So I can maybe say I'm all about pie. Like, I got that going for me. Along the lines, when you were just speaking, I was thinking about one of my greatest mentors, my sister Betty, man. Like, this girl, she was like writing these things out before they were written in her head, and the way that she was practically applying. Like, she made amends before I think any of us even knew that we needed to make amends. Her body was naturally doing those things. But the number one thing that I've watched with her and her success is she don't tell anybody her business. She just does it. So like,
Right.
if she's got a plan to like build, she builds things. She builds houses. She builds like the Baba Yaga, which is this beautiful like cabin style thing that she built. And so what she does is, instead of being like, hey B, you know, I'm building this Baba Yaga house and I got this thing going, and there's this structure that I'm creating, where he might right now, even if he loves her, he might be like, well, what is that? How do you make that? Can you make that? Do you even know how? And that, even from a loving perspective, he might be perpetuating those ideas into the world. Where Betty, she sits down, she draws a picture of the Baba Yaga on her own. She looks at it and she starts building it. And then nobody gets to play any spells or magic into her game. She's the only one that's perpetuating the beautiful ideas. And like, within a month, there's a house built and it's epic. It's beautiful. Everything orchestrates itself. She finds stuff for free. She gets gifts that make it even better. And like, the organic evolution of everything that she does starts with her kind of just staying private in her dreams, keeping them into her own visual, and then putting them into paper and setting them out to be. And so this then again turned into some thoughts I just had about myself, and like pie talk and this podcast. So like, there were a lot of people in my life that I've let outweigh my scale, my spiritual scale. People that have said, you can't do that. Well, just drop down. You won't do that. Well, just drop down, you know? And when I started to step into pie talk, all those people that were dropping my scale down, I didn't tell any of them. I didn't speak a word. And even when I was afraid and I was like, should I do this? Is this the right step? I didn't ask anybody. I just did it. And thank God for B. Like, he totally was like, no, you're doing it. We're doing it. So I had a little bit of backing and encouragement. But what ended up happening, like B was talking about, is I went into Pie Talk. I started creating this with B. And then on this side of the scale, people that I just met, people that started to watch Pie, they started to weigh in too. And they got the scale to flop to the other side of positive nature. And these people done flopped all the way out. Like, like they got catapulted by the amount of people that believe in us, by the amount of people that want us to succeed. So I just think maybe keep it quiet to those that make it difficult or hard on you. Present yourself in the most authentic, impeccable way possible, and people will see you for who you really are, and they're going to perpetuate that good and that God in you.
Yeah. We pursue internal evolution with the intention of being better together.
Yeah.
Because how can you contribute to a relationship, to a society, to your community in a positive and healthy manner when you yourself are negative and unhealthy?
Yeah. Gotta get spiritually fit. Like, I feel like there's this guy who kind of knew a little bit about getting spiritually fit. He made these cards. Have you ever seen them before? Yeah, maybe we'll take those on. Well, we've got the 4 agreements coming your way right now. And B, why don't you take off?
Don't make assumptions, people. Say goodbye to sadness and drama. All the sadness and drama you have lived in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. The whole world of control between humans is based on that. Take a moment and consider this.
I really love that. Hilarious too, because I think we just talked about that a little bit.
A little bit. A little bit. And these cards are just randomly sitting on the table.
Thanks again, universe. I really appreciate you. My card says, always do your best. Express your own divinity. That's probably that narrative that we were talking about. You don't need the acceptance of others. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You have the right to be you. And you express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. What are these conclusion cards? I couldn't ask for better words.
Yeah. I'm done trying to figure it out.
Just grateful.
Don't take anything personally. Release self-judgment. Even the opinions you have about yourself are not necessarily true. B, this one's for me. Therefore, you don't need to take whatever you hear in your own mind personally. And this is about being mindful and aware of thoughts. And I remember a real vivid visual when I was in a treatment inside the feds. And the lesson was slow your thinking, right? And so they're like, draw a picture of what slow your thinking means to you. And the picture I had come up with was similar to this statue right here, right? Sitting in the middle of like a field or whatever, and picturing your thoughts as if they're clouds slowly osculating. And in all those clouds osculating are your thoughts, right? And the way that we live with our thoughts is that they are not us. They come and they go. They enter into this vortex that's spinning and they shoot out, and you can grab them and you can examine them and you can throw them back up there. You know, they're just there. And the longer you sit there, the more you can just be like, wow, it's never ending. Your mind will never fall short of thoughts. And the longer you're able to sit and acknowledge, you can pick the ones you want to dwell on, throw out the ones you want to get rid of, and you can perpetuate so much greatness in the way that you move in this life by just slowing down your own thinking. Take control of your thoughts that are just there. They're coming, they're going, they're there. They're just there. Just be a witness, starting internally. Just witness your own thoughts, touch them, break them apart, add to them, build upon them, let them all go. Do whatever you want with them. They're yours.
Man, you know, what's funny is B's always rooting for me, saying I've got good visuals, but that was something.
I have one in the pocket.
I know, you just pulled the card. That was beautiful to me. And the power in your visual, the power in your mindset and what you're manifesting. Like, you just basically talked about a dream board, but your dream board's right above your head all day long. You can do anything you want with it, man. Oof. Good job. So the next card we've got going on is be impeccable with your word. Ooh, I needed this one. Release the need to be right.
Damn it.
Oh, shucks.
I think we both needed this one.
Yeah. When you believe something, you assume you are right. And you may even destroy relationships in order to defend your position. Let go of the need to defend your position. Now, I'm not going to try to justify my behavior, but I will give a little bit of an explanation.
Yeah, I think we need some practical application for this one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got something on this too.
I was like, I'm passionate. I'm passionate about the things I believe. And sometimes, because I'm so passionate, it seems like I'm trying to prove to others that I'm right. Now, I could simmer down my passion a little bit and be a bit more considerate to others so that they don't confuse it as me trying to persuade them. So that's something that I have been evaluating and trying to check out. At the same time, I do love my passion. I do love that I feel solid and grounded in the things that I believe. So I believe that spiritual scale, is going to come back to bat. And I want to make sure that I'm finding a middle ground in order to respect those that are around me while still respecting myself. What about you?
Man, I'm gonna just keep it real. My energy was a little bit off because I was having one of those exact moments back and forth in text with my wife about that card proving or trying to stand on my truth in a defensive way instead of just standing on it in my own way. Like, I don't have to voice my truth. I don't have to try to convince somebody of why I think the way I think or why I am the way I am. And also, I don't have to feel attacked when somebody expresses something in a way that doesn't align with the way that I want something to be expressed.
Yeah.
Because not everybody is at the same level of their ability to express their feelings. Sometimes people express things in a way that's more roundabout than direct. So they'll say something and it'll sound like they're taking a shot. But if you look at what's in between the lines, and one thing it reminds me of, if you know or think you know what motivates somebody's conversation, then you can not even hear the words they're saying and address the motivation, which is usually a feeling, a want or a need that's not being met, especially in marital relationships or romantic relationships. If someone says something and it makes you feel a certain way or leads you, because I try to get away from you can't make another person feel any kind of way, but you can lead them to experience a feeling. And so when you get caught up in that part, try to take back and look into yourself and think, I feel a certain type of way. Why is that? And if I feel a certain type of way, that means this person is expressing through a feeling of their own. What is that feeling? And what is the motive behind that feeling? Is it a want not being met? Is it a need, not being met? Do they feel threatened? Are they scared? Are they, what is it that is creating these energies that feel uncomfortable? It takes a lot of practice in the middle of a conversation. The beauty about texting, though, is you can just set your phone down and think and do that. We get caught up as if we're having a face-to-face conversation and you're just texting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But in the midst of that, and they'll never be able to see it.
In the midst of that, like staying silent in the midst, like that quote we talked about at the beginning. But yes,
yeah, right.
In the midst of it, go ahead.
In the midst of all that, you can just set the phone down until it goes away, until you have lowered the temperature of your activated feeling, whether it be anger or frustration or sadness or defensiveness, and then come back and look at those words and try to look at them through the filter of the other person's motive.
Yeah, I love this so much. And I just want to acknowledge, because I do believe in positive praise, is that you just saw between the both of us some real time, humble PIE being curated. Like, we just got to learn so much right now about our own process of pursuing internal evolution. We got to check ourselves a little bit. So with that being said, I think we deserve a bonus card this round, which will be kind of fun. We have a little extra for you. It says, be impeccable with your word. Cultivate faith. To have great faith is to have great power. Because your intent, your will is undivided, when your word isn't dissipated by doubt, the power of your word becomes even stronger. taking that time to be silent and to think about what could divinely come through you in order to give your impeccable word could be the make or break in your day all day long.
Speaking of making something stronger, so Steph Tompkins, who I talked about before,
Yeah.
made a comment in a text, and she was saying it was a really good conversation that we had last episode, and she said saying no is something she's had to practice on, but it makes her yes stronger.
Ooh, yeah.
Makes her yes more valuable.
It honors the other side. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got
I just wanted to, that was a jewel. Native auntie.
Yes, thank you so much. I love the beauty and native words and how rich sometimes those different gems have things to offer. And so I'm kind of curious if what we heard at the very beginning of the episode had a little native tonality to what the person was speaking. And I'd like to know who said that. I'd like to know about the quote.
Well, we're going to get to the answer.
Who said that?
So everybody, it's kind of exciting, but Chief White Eagle was the person that said our quote earlier. And this beautiful, spiritually rich individual was born in 1825 on February the 3rd and was a Native American politician and American civil rights leader who served as the hereditary chief of the Ponca from 1870 until 1904. His 34-year-old tenure as the Ponca head of state spanned the most consequential period of cultural and political change in their history, beginning with the unlawful Ponca Trail of Tears in 1877 and continuing through his successful effort to obtain justice for his people by utilizing the American media to wage a public relations campaign against the United States and President Rutherford B. Hayes. Now, this is an incredible concept that leads into our portion of philanthropy, which is also exactly what this gentleman seems like he was putting forth in every bit of his efforts.
Right.
Another quote from Chief White Eagle was, "You live on earth only for a few short years, which can call an incarnation, and then you leave your body as an outworn dress and go for refreshment to your true home in the spirit." Sounds like he was living in the flesh sack. I know, I love it. I wanted to touch base on this concept of philanthropy, a little bit. I wanted to kind of give a little education on it. We're not going to talk about a specific topic today because we just had a beautiful gentleman offer his philanthropy and something we can all sit on for surely. But I wanted to talk about the 5 pillars of philanthropy. So each of these pillars require specific attention, but together they provide a foundation for uniting your community with a common philanthropic purpose. So the things that we want to focus on are inclusion, transparency, empowerment, collaboration, and then my favorite, celebration, which would be honoring all of the 4 pillars before. Anything to say on that, P?
Yeah. You can do philanthropy to yourself.
Oh.
And that last pillar, celebrate yourself. It's okay to love yourself. It's not a negative thing. It should never be looked at as a negative thing. And, you should question anybody's motive who would attempt to bring you down or make you feel guilty or lead you into a guilt feeling for taking the steps and giving yourself that time and energy and thoughts and love to be the best version of yourself, because a true person in your life that loves you will benefit from you bettering yourself.
Mm, I love it. You know, this kind of heads on into some words that are benefiting us that came in on our Facebook. We offered a little fun, exciting exercise that was for people to come up with other acronyms for PIE, or PIE. And we got a couple new ones since the last episode, but I think they come right into what we were just speaking about.
Nice.
Kyle, he spoke and he said, pain isn't eternal. Thank you, my friend.
It isn't.
Nope. Jay Rush said, preserving is everything.
Preservation.
And the last one, and probably my favorite, is put in energy, which I love. Thank you so much, Sarah Jean Morris, for that. What good gems we got going on. The next part of our episode, I feel like, B, I want you to share, because the last time I did. But is there an agreement in the blueprint agreement that you think we could bring up right now that is important or valuable?
Yeah, you got it?
Let me pull it up real quick.
I think I know exactly which one I'm going to.
I don't know if I have it right on hand, which is kind of crazy.
It is. We usually have it laying around.
I'm sorry, everybody. The blueprint agreement is
One thing I will say about it, though, is the agreement to protect yourself at all times.
Oh, I love
in
that.
all ways, not just physically defend yourself, but protect your energy, protect your integrity, protect your decision to pursue internal evolution, protect your children's integrity. When you make yourself believe something and in your spirit there's value in that belief.
I'm like, do we have this specific agreement you'd like to read out loud? Sorry about that delay.
It's all good. So it is, I agree to love myself first, putting positive energy, thought, time, and action into my own well-being, and treating myself as if I'm my very own best friend by acknowledging my strengths, appreciating my beauty, and protecting myself in all ways. That is the agreement from the blueprint agreements that I was just talking about. It's about honoring yourself.
Yeah. I'm like, one thing that comes to mind is, like, I was talking earlier about being spiritually fit, and I didn't understand, like, what that even meant to me in terms of keeping it going every single day and making it something that I'm practically applying. And so, like, today I went to church, which was really, so I haven't done that in years. And the way I work in churches is, like, I could go to any church in the world. I can go to any denomination and I can sit there and I can work on my spirituality with the different gifts and the gems that come through. And so there are certain words, of course, that, like, maybe aren't for me all the way, and people's versions of the scripture and such. But I was making sure to focus on my spirituality and to make sure to protect and honor the value that I have in that. And I did things for myself, like going to church, to make sure that I'm amplifying that growth and perpetuating it, because to me, that's something that I value. And I forgot. To be really real, I forgot how important spirituality and the evolution and my knowledge of it was. I've studied world religions before. I've been to many different churches to experience things in different versions, and I kind of gave that up. And it isn't because I wanted to, it's because I forgot the value that it truly had for me.
Right.
And so right now I'm stepping back in. So another thing for you guys, I would love to, if you have a church that you like or enjoy, or if you guys are diving into a direction that's really neat for you, share it with me, please, because I am a universalist. So I believe in everybody. I believe in every religion because there's no way I can look at somebody and say, you're wrong. There's no way. Their religion is a myth and a story that's been compiled from their ancestors and the people that they love, and then their life experience and what they have grown into becoming. And I find immense value in anybody that is out there on a spiritual path and journey. And to me, I can always gain glory from it. So please, if you got something to offer, send it our way, man. I want to know about it.
Yeah, I'm with it. I actually studied theology myself. I've read a lot about, Buddhism. I read the Quran. I've read the Bible. I've read books and practiced Reiki magic.
I love it.
I've been into, astrology, numerology. I used to have some really good friends that were into the Wiccan beliefs, and I've actually been a part of some of those rituals before. When I was young, my mom used to have exchange students in and out of our house, so I've been introduced to a lot of different cultures and beliefs, and so I think it's allowed me that extra skill to be all inclusive when it comes to who I'm willing to deal with and have a conversation with. Like I've said it before, if we all got snatched up, if they snatched people from every continent and took us on some alien spaceship and we're all in this big cage together, in that moment, we're all from Earth. Nobody's going to be worried about their street or their city or their religion or their creed. We are going to be referred to as the Earthlings or humans or Homo sapiens. And so all the differences, all that won't matter in the moment like that. So why does it matter now?
Yeah, I love that. So Chief White Eagle earlier talked about how we want to just be still and we want to wait a little bit before we start navigating things. And that kind of takes us into our next little bit, which is aggression suppression.
Yes, yes, yes.
So something about aggression suppression that we've tried to figure out is like, how do you control your anger? How do we suppress aggression? How do we do what the great chief spoke about? And so a few things that you can do are you can count to 10, and you can kind of give yourself that time to cool down, and giving yourself an actual time limit and space to stop. Everyone knows how to count to 10. So it's not like it's an extraordinary thing to pull off. And in that moment that you got something going on, just count to 10 and slow down what you're doing a little bit. Breathe slowly. And something we want to remember to do is when you're inhaling, you want to exhale for a longer amount of time than you inhaled through your nose. And if you can do that sort of repetition slowly, I believe you'll begin to gain a little bit of suppression to your aggression.
Yeah, because remember this, we cannot control anger. Anger is necessary. Anger is here. It is not negative or positive. We control our behavior after being activated.
Yep. Absolutely. I love that. Another thing, be active, like you just said, activated. You could do some exercise. That's a great way of enhancing like your adrenals and your system in the right way versus getting it out in the ways you might regret later on. So you're going to take that time to breathe a little bit, and then you want to activate some other parts of your mind, and exercise is a great way of doing that. You also want to look after yourself. Like we were talking about earlier, you want to protect yourself a little bit. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be surrounded with, and try to keep your day filled more often than not with the energy that you want to exchange back and forth with. And I think that that's protecting yourself and honoring yourself in the right way. It's not to say you're not going to meet people that don't make you grump and stump, but you don't have to engage with those people more often than not. And then the last portion that I want to offer today is to get creative and to talk about your feelings, which is what we do here on Pi. So I would love for all of you guys to hit our comments up some more. Make sure that you like and share anything that you find inspirational, and show us what you have to offer, and you're getting creative and you're talking about your feelings.
Yeah, definitely. Follow us on Pi Talk Podcast Facebook page, or Pi Talk Community Connections Facebook group.
Yeah.
We're also on Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, Apple Podcasts. You can follow our show there if you just want to listen. This is really good commute type of flow. A lot of people have said that. Shout out to Ness. And on the final note, I just want to leave you guys with Pi is for the people. Pi is for you. Pi is for us.
Yes.
Pour out the tea.
Please.
Quit letting people bring that negativity into your life.
Drop it like it's hot.
And like White Eagle said, let it pass first. Relax. And also, again, drop comments if you want Priscilla to do these guided meditation episodes where you can just pull those up on YouTube and get some really cool guided meditation, which will really help calm your stress. And lastly, but not least, they say it's scientifically impossible to be angry while you're smiling.
Oh, I love it.